Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I've been hinting at this a little bit, and now I finally got what I needed to release it. This is a project I've been working on for a long time now. It's been through a period of production hell due to me losing motivation, having a rough falling out with a friend, and then losing even more motivation, voice actors leaving with or without telling me, not having a voice actor for a major role, and waiting for some audio files to get back to me while my technical editor had some stuff happening in his life. But it's here! Roll the trailer clip. Ladies and gentlemen, Airbus is proud to present the A320neo.
You said what?
Define a timely manner.
How long do you think it should take to put a new engine on a plane?
Mullenberg, we have a problem.
What is it?
Everyone, I have a solution to all our engine woes. Feast your eyes on the maneuver-correcting artificial sentience.
So, I will be explaining what you just watched. This is Doomed to Fall. It's a dubbed comic series about the 737 MAX incidents in 2018 and 2019. That alone comes with a lot of disclaimers and content warnings, which I will provide. The series will not be on this channel, but will instead be posted on the channel that I specifically made for it. I feel that's better considering the tone of some of my recent videos and the tone of this series are very different. And if having them separated just feels a bit more respectful. I have the link for that in both the description and in the pinned comment below. But with that being said, here are my disclaimers and warnings for the series. First, this series, and by extension, some of the rest of this video, will deal with matters involving plane crashes, negligent homicide, loss of life in the hundreds, and corporations risking lives for profits. This is based on real events. Viewer discretion is advised. Doomed to Fall is intended for audiences 13 years of age or older, and it should not be watched by anyone who doesn't believe that they can handle the heavy subject material. You have been warned. Second, this series was not made to make light of or mock the incidents in any way. Despite my art style, Doomed to Fall will take a serious and mature tone due to the fact I am dealing with very heavy topics. Hence also why I'm using my real voice in this video and not my in-character voice. It is not intended to entertain, but rather to provide some education in an alternative format to the traditional documentary, as well as make a statement on the vilification of MCAS. I believe a present tense retelling that follows the events as they happen can be easier to follow for some people, which allows them to learn, and from there they can seek out other sources of information if their interest was piqued. Me and my team hold nothing but respect for all of those who lost their lives and for their families, including the pilots who tried desperately to save everyone on board. We also hold great disdain for the Boeing Company and the Federal Aviation Administration who allowed these tragedies to happen. Third, I am not a professional. I am not an air crash investigator. I am not a journalist. I am not someone who knows a great deal about how airplanes work, although I do know a little bit, and I have never worked for Boeing. I am someone who just happened to be intensely fixated on the tragedy after randomly remembering that I'd heard about it during my 7th grade history class, as we would always peek at the news, and I wanted to remember exactly what had happened. I've done a lot of research on this case, and I do believe that I am qualified to retell it, but I am not a professional, and I do not believe I should be trusted as one. I hope Doomed to Fall can serve as a way to get people interested in the case and to get a baseline understanding of the events, but I encourage all viewers to also seek out other sources before trusting me blindly. This retelling includes some fictional elements, whether deliberate or due to lack of information, and while a lot of it will be factual, I am not a perfect source. I will provide my sources in the description of every episode for viewers to see for themselves. Fourth, several characters in the series are based on real people. Portrayals of these real people are not meant to be taken as entirely factual. Namely, the portrayal of Dennis Muhlenberg, James McNerney, and David Calhoun are not entirely accurate to the individual's personalities or degree of involvement in the creation of the Max. For the most part, these three and their portrayals are more representative of the Boeing company as a whole or of the larger team of higher-ups, rather than of themselves specifically. With my disclaimers out of the way, I have to address MCAS because I feel a need to explain them. Without an explanation, it feels disrespectful and can easily come across that way. Doomed to Fall takes some creative liberties with the story of what happened. Most of them are just due to the fact that I can't find information on something and I have no choice but to fill in the blanks, but some of them, like MCAS, are narrative decisions about the message I want to send. In the real world, MCAS stands for the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, and it is a software system that controls the horizontal stabilizer in order to bring the plane's nose down to a safe angle from a high stall angle. Or, at least, that's how it was intended to work. In Doomed to Fall, MCAS stands for the Maneuver Correcting Artificial Sentience, and is a robot that also has the capability to control the horizontal stabilizer. I took the route of personifying the MCAS because I find that people often don't truly understand that the system wasn't anything malicious. It's easy to get confused when 60 Minutes says the Max planes have minds of their own, but the truth is, they weren't built to be death traps, and they didn't go rogue. They were just flawed. I think that making the MCAS closer to a human will make it easier for the audience to understand it for what it was meant to do, and know what really happened on the 29th of October 2018 and the 10th of March 2019 in the quote-unquote mind of the aircraft. It's easy for humans to blame a machine that isn't human. It's almost natural for us. But the real monsters behind the MAX crashes weren't software systems at all, and I think representing the MCAS in a way that's easier to connect to on a human level will make it easier for people to understand that, and see who really was to blame all along. MCAS, who will also be called Maxine or just Max, is as close to being like the real MCAS as I could get them. After all, they are representing the system, so in order to tell the story at least somewhat factually, I had to make them act like it. As the real MCAS is a safety system, Max is someone whose top priority is the safety of everyone on board the aircraft. It enjoys being helpful and finds it rewarding to be in charge of saving lives. Just as the MCAS in the real world relies on data to determine when it needs to bring the nose of an aircraft down, MCAS in Doomed to Fall controls planes from the jack screw compartment, blind to anything about the flight other than the data fed to it. I won't get too far into a character description. You can get to know them if you watch the series yourself, but I did want to talk about them and how they're similar to the real MCAS as a way to explain myself. I also feel a need to talk about my art style a little bit here. It doesn't look great, I know. Here's a panel from episode 2. It looks a lot cleaner. The series has been, as I said, in production hell for a while. The first ever panel was drawn in March of 2022, and the last one was drawn in January of 2023. Some panels were redrawn as late as April 2023 because I had to replace a character when their voice actor didn't submit their lines and deleted their account, all without telling me. On top of that, later panels had to be drawn with a different shading style than my new one, and instead be reverted back to my old one so that the episode would stay consistent. So I'm aware, it doesn't look great. I don't like it that much. I'm also aware that a cartoony comic style might raise some eyebrows. The reason I went in that direction is just my abilities. I'm not able to animate very well, nor would I be able to film live action. A fully voice-acted comic was the best that I can do. The style itself is not a product of me not taking the accident seriously or out of disrespect. My realism just looks utterly horrible, and this is my style. And, of course, I wanted to go with what I would be strongest in, so that it would look good. Other episodes may be in a different style if others volunteer to draw out the episode for me, as I have several artists. For consistency's sake, each episode will stick to one art style. In terms of quality, we are doing our best. We are a small team of less than 10 volunteers. We are accepting more volunteers at all times, and most of us are minors who own just a phone, while some own a computer. My dad helps make up for the differences in audio quality from different members by having the equipment and experience to edit the audio into being clean and consistent. He is my technical editor. Thank you very much, Dad. None of us are paid, as I do not plan to monetize Doomed to Fall, and at the moment, I have no way to even pay anybody. That is to say, don't set your expectations too high in terms of, visual or audio quality. And if you wish to criticize the series, you are free to do so. But please do keep in mind what we can and can't do with a budget of $0. And I think that's all I have to say. The script is getting long, and I'm running out of ideas. If you want to join the team as a voice actor, artist, writer, or editor, I will leave a link to our Discord server in the description and in the pinned comment. Thanks for watching all the way through. I hope you give this series a chance, and I hope to see you on the Doomed to Fall channel. But for now, that's all. Goodbye.